Baylor finally has new uniforms, and they are uniforms. This is Locked On Baylor.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another episode of Locked On Baylor from the brand new studio, which is still very much under construction. So sorry it looks so tacky. I'm your host, Cam Stewart of ESPN Central Texas and the Rogue Media Sports Network. Joining me today, also from the Rogue Media Sports Network, co-host of The Cam Show, starring Cam Stewart and featuring Lariat TV reporter Braden Murray. Braden, is this your first time on the show? I think you were on with Drake. Have you ever been on with me?
This is my first time ever, actually. It took 2 years and a change of hosts, and finally,
you're like a Drake guy, so that's disheartening that he never let you on the show, because behind the scenes for every great Drake Toll venture, there is Braden Murray.
I do seem to be involved in a lot of them, yeah.
You really are. You do get paid for most of them. I have put you to the forefront. I have put you on the pedestal with me on the Cam Show. Just sans payments for
I'm grateful.
Paying you an experience, man.
It'll come someday. But Drake does pay me, so maybe like Drake and Cam, like right here.
Fine. I put you on the camera. Just don't forget that.
That's true.
Braden from the Lariat TV News, and I guess Lariat Print as well, right? Did you do any of that this year? I guess it doesn't really matter. But you covered the Bears. You've covered the Bears far and wide. You've seen them in so much, and what you have seen them in your whole time at Baylor are some honestly lackluster football uniforms. They have not been fan favorites throughout the years, and what we got yesterday, Tuesday, 5/28/24 at 10 a.m. Central Time, was new Baylor football uniforms. We reacted to it on the Cam Show like right after they dropped.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to spoil any of that, because I want you to, give me your answer as we have sat on it all day. Your thoughts on the new Baylor football uniforms.
Honestly, they've kind of grown on me.
Okay. All right. Like a bad fungus. Yeah.
When they first came out at 10 in the morning, I believe I said I was underwhelmed with all this hype, hyping it up for a full week. And even before that, we'd seen it in the EA college football trailer,
which turned out to be pretty right.
Yeah, pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate.
But I do like, this might be a hot take, I do like the new yellow uniforms.
Really?
Something about the green and white shoulder stripes. It's an improvement. It's a nice touch.
I still think I don't like the yellow the most, because, and this is going to be great because I don't have the picture to just put up in the graphics right now. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm just going to hold it up to the screen. To me, there are two different yellows going on there.
Yeah.
The helmet is not the same color as the jersey and the pants.
Same with the green to a less extent.
Yeah, and honestly, because these have grown on me as well. I will still use the term underwhelmed.
Right. Me too.
But if I was 100% underwhelmed Tuesday morning, as we record this Tuesday evening, I'm like 50% underwhelmed. Like I'm getting there, and I like the green. It's a bit of a darker green than they had before, and you have to really see that. I say up close, but in an up close picture to notice that that's not really the same green that they've been wearing the last couple of years. That reflection had like all of my screen in it. I still would have liked to have seen them gone with the old gold again somewhere in the uniform. They did not. They're not bringing that back. They are sticking with the dehydrated urine yellow as the gold, which I don't think is actually a bad look, but the all dehydrated urine is not a good look for me. But I think what it comes down to, which we talked about earlier, is it just the same uniforms with stripes on the side?
I'm afraid it is. I mean, I don't.
You do have the white. You do have the white numbers on the green.
Yes. which is
which I think needs an accent, by the way.
Yeah, there
like
needs
if we're gonna nitpick it all, like I love actually a contrast of a white on the green, but it needs to have a trim like the old. I think I have one of the jerseys here, one of the RG3s. Like it's okay to have that, but the gold trim around it really makes it pop. And also, what I like, what does that say on the jersey?
Brett? It says Baylor on it, Cam.
It says Baylor on it. We, as Baylor, are not Penn State. We're not Texas. We're not Alabama. We're not Oklahoma. Some would even say we're not Kansas State. Put the name of the team across the chest. Can we? All they've done is gone for the alternate bear logo, which, look, different strokes for different folks. It has never struck me in the right place. I just don't think it's very creative nor a great secondary logo. And it's like Fetch and Mean Girls. They're really trying to make it happen. It's just not happening for me. Am I overblowing that, Braden? Of course, it's the most subjective thing ever, but am I overblowing that?
No, I think I do prefer the bear directly before this with the brown. I think it looked.
And that, which was not on a lot of things, by the way. I think that you followed Baylor, but it wasn't while you were at Baylor. It was not on a lot of things. I don't know if it was on any of the uniforms.
No, I don't think it was, but in like t-shirts and the signposts around campus, I think it had the bear, and it just looked meaner than what we have now. I don't hate the bear we have now. It's just.
At first glance, though, I'm like, is this a bear? The other ones in the past, like Say We're Bear Above Me on YouTube, and the one you're describing, do right away. But now it's like, oh, I can kind of make that out. That's a bear, sure.
Yeah, and if you look at it hard enough or long enough, you can tell, that is indeed supposed to be a bear.
We haven't even talked about the white ones. What do you feel about the white ones?
The white ones, I think, remain their best uniform.
Fine, yeah.
I just really don't like the yellow stripe. It looks.
But once you do it on the other two, though, I don't think you can. I think you have to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying your opinion is wrong.
I just think it would have looked better if it was just 2 green stripes on the side and 2 green stripes.
All right. Power rank your 3 uniforms.
White, green, yellow.
You said you liked the yellow. You just picked them.
I mean, it's grown on me, but I hated it at first. But I'm going green number 2.
I like the green. Honestly, if you just put not even a little, I'm saying like a thick yellow outline around the numbers, I am all in on the green uniforms. I am so in. I like this color green, which is a little bit darker than the ones they had before. I really like that. The forest green, which is going back to the RG3s, which I threw aside, so I'm not picking that up again. But it does feel a lot like last year's uniforms.
It does. And looking at this front-facing picture of the green ones, I think if the bear wasn't there in the centerpiece, it would have looked like a high school uniform.
Yeah.
Like a generic.
Like a Franklin, Valley Mills.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I get you. Oh, I'm giving this grade a C+.
Oh, you've moved since.
I did have a C. What that first initial reaction, C+. And it's like, I mean, it's like the last iteration of uniforms in that, like, it's not terrible. It's not ugly. It's not bad. I think honestly, it's Nike's fault. I actually am not going to say that this is Baylor's fault. Nike has done this with several teams. Iowa State's the one that is claiming that Baylor stole it from them. It's like, no, this is clearly Nike execs took like your basic look with no bells and whistles to adding shoulder stripes. That's the Nike thing. So by 2 years from now, we will absolutely hate it probably. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and the NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Whether you like the uniforms or not, let's go make some money, which is also green. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150. You can bet it on spreads, money lines, player props, and so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Be sick of saying it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was a C+ this morning. I'm gonna bump that up to a B-.
B-, boring minus.
Boring.
Okay.
Well, I think that's kind of fitting, honestly.
No, that's good. Braden, I want to ask you, because I kind of mentioned this on the show last week about, actually, was it beginning of this week when softball got knocked out, that like I'm really excited for what that softball team's going to look like next year, specifically on the women's side. Softball, women's basketball, I think are going to have terrific seasons next year, and I'm really looking forward to it. And this next question for you, Braden, isn't necessarily about who's going to win the national championship, who's going to win the Big 12, but what team for Baylor, let's stick it with Baylor, it's locked on Baylor.
Yeah.
Which Baylor team are you most excited to go and watch next year?
I mean, the easy answer would be basketball, but my real answer is probably baseball.
Okay. Why is that?
Because I liked this team this year. You know, they weren't obviously they didn't make the tournament, but they have good they have solid pieces on this squad. With another year of training under Mitch Thompson, I think they're not gonna, win the Natty or anything. I think they could make a solid Big 12 run. I mean, you got Wesley Johnson, who is second team All Big 12, easily our best player. Ethan Calder was also solid out of the bullpen. The thing with this Baylor,
Wesley Jordan, by the way. Yeah.
Is that not what I said?
You said Johnson, which is funny
Wesley
because
Jordan.
I know that you know that, which reminds me of yesterday's episode. Or this might have also been Monday's episode. Yeah. Where I got a bunch of comments under it. I was talking about the 2012 team, and like 3 comments were like, dude, it's Feed the Beaver. And I was like, of course it is. But I went back in the show and I said, Feed the Otter for some reason. So Braden, we've both been there this week. But anyway, Mitch Thompson's fighting Baylor Bears. A bunch of injuries this year. I mean, really came at the beginning of the season. So it's like, you can't use that excuse forever, but they did have some big injuries. 3 regulars, I believe, go out in the first week and a half of the season. Are you a Mitch Thompson guy?
I do like Mitch Thompson. I'm a Mitch Thompson guy, I would say.
There's some hesitation there. I'm like a hardcore Mitch Thompson guy.
I think he has to prove it this year.
That was going to be kind of my next question. Okay, so this year, I think we all are kind of saying it's got to be better, and it felt better a lot of this season, 2024. But ultimately, I think you set out a not too lofty goal of making the Big 12 tournament.
Right.
And they didn't do that. And especially midway through the season, like that's coming up short. And when you're 9-7 in the conference, you were in that 4th, 5th spot and still were in the middle of the pack for most of the year. Like you've got to be there. So is it as simple as that for next year? Because that was kind of the goal that some of us had coming into 2024. Can you just say that in 2025 of, okay, we got to make the Big 12 tournament, or does it need to be better? Do you need to be in the top half of the Big 12? Do you need to make the NCAA tournament? What is kind of the expectation level for you just after Memorial Day, just after the season
just after the season ended?
Yeah.
I would say, probably making the NCAA tournament. 3 years NCAA, but
which is ambitious but doable in like the landscape of college baseball.
I mean, to keep his job, I would say, like the top goal is NCAA tournament, of course. But to keep his job, I would say top half of the Big 12 next season.
Braden Murray's ready to put him on the hot seat.
I don't know.
Top half of the Big 12. Which is doable, by the way, because I mean, like OU had a great year. They're out. UT, always a power in baseball. They're out. You bring in Arizona, good program. Arizona State. Utah. Do they even play baseball? Utah? Yes, they do. Actually, I covered a guy in the Cape League who played at Utah. It's like it's not crazy. And Colorado does not play baseball. So it's not crazy to think that they should be up there in the top half. Thank you for asking, Braden. My most exciting team that I am looking for. Easy answer again would be men's basketball. But honestly, it's women's basketball.
Yes.
And I say that almost to the same reasoning of baseball in a weird way, because we saw a great start to the season for women's basketball. Mm-hmm. Top 10, beating 2 top 5 teams. I think they got to 5 at one point or 4 in the country.
14-0.
Yeah, 14-0 start. And I don't think it was unreasonable to be like, okay, the expectation is to win the Big 12. Right? I mean,
yeah.
Sure. And granted, we did not know how good a Kansas State was going to be, or Oklahoma was going to be. But you had already beaten Texas.
Right.
And Rory Harmon was out.
Austin. Beat them in Austin, too.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, that's a reasonable assumption. Obviously, it did not get there, and it's not just because they faltered, but their game did falter a little bit. And then, like, they kind of found themselves again with the NCAA tournament. And Nikki Collin talked about like having that rest, that was the extra rest for Big 12 women's versus all the men's teams and most of the women's teams going into the tournament. They didn't play for like two weeks. And she said, normally that might not be a good thing, but for us, it was a godsend. Like, we got to rest, we got to get our shots back, and they got them back, went to the Sweet 16, and were really damn close to knocking off a 1 seed and going to the Elite 8, which would have had like everyone on notice. And they've made some big additions. Aaronette Vonleh, of course, the big one. You retained some great players like Jana Van Geitenbeek and Sarah Andrews. I think a top 10 preseason ranking wouldn't be crazy for this team. You know how much I know my women's basketball. Like, I don't think that's crazy. And so then again, with UT out of the conference and OU out of the conference, we got to be thinking Big 12 title. Mm-hmm. Is that, in your mind, Braden, as someone who follows this team very closely, are we far enough into the Nikki Collin era? I know she won it in her first year, and there was obviously a lot of Kim's players and Alyssa Smith specifically. Are we in deep enough to Nikki ball that should be the expectation with this cast that they have?
Absolutely. This will be a
just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy.
Very good team that I expect to make to the third weekend of the tournament, I would say.
Okay, that's the Final Four, by the way. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure you knew that was the Final Four. Where
I like this
honorable mention, equestrian. I'm real excited about this 2025 equestrian team. I think there's going to be some big changes. I don't even know how they score equestrian. I have no idea. Sorry, Braden. When we come back from this very brief commercial break, I have quite a teaser for Braden and you fans listening. All right, Braden, I didn't warn you about this, so I'm going to throw you right into the fire here, okay? Doug Gottlieb is now famously the head coach at Wisconsin Green Bay, and he is going to keep his talk show somehow. He just hired a Tarleton coach. That's why it kind of came on my radar. He's going to keep his talk show, his nationally syndicated talk show, and be a head college basketball coach, which is now like a 12-month a year, 24/7, like 51 weeks a year job with the transfer portal and all of that. And so it got me thinking, Braden, Doug Gottlieb is a media guy who's now coaching Division I. You are ingrained in the Waco sports media scene. Those of you listening and watching, of course, have some grasp of the Waco media scene. Who from the Waco media scene, if Scott Drew had to retire before the season, who from Waco Media Mafia would take over as the Baylor Bears men's basketball coach?
It's between two off the top of the dome.
Okay.
It's between Eric Kelly.
Okay.
And
do you want to give an explanation on Eric, or do you want to wait for both and then give an
I'll
explanation?
give both, and then I'll do some explanation.
Eric Kelly on Fox 44. Yep.
Yes.
My
And
alma
I would
mater.
go Michael Haig, former Lariat sports editor.
Okay. Hey, graduate?
No, he's just moving on.
Oh, okay. And give me the explanations for both.
I just I happen to know that they're in a basketball league together. They're in a Waco Media Mafia basketball league together.
Okay.
That I've never been asked to join, and nor do I want to join because I'm abysmal at basketball.
I don't think most of them are much better, Braden, if we're being honest.
I just know that Michael Haig, he knows his stuff.
Knows ball.
Michael Haig does indeed know ball.
And Eric Kelly just also plays in the league. That's your explanation?
I'm not gonna lie, Eric Kelly is the only other person I can name who plays in that league.
Oh, okay. I think like all the old guys. I shouldn't say that. They're friends, but I think like Jerry and Bryce. I think
Bryce
they play.
Plays.
Yeah.
Bryce.
I hear stories.
Coach. Yeah, I hear stories.
You want to hear who my nomination would be?
Yes, please.
The host of the Locked On Baylor podcast.
Me.
Yes, that's me, Braden. I am picking myself. I'm nominating myself. Look, and I'm a man of the people, and I have had people comment on this program that I should be an assistant coach for Baylor. When Scott Drew needed to hire a complete staff, I won't say whether he reached out to me or not, but I'm here because I love you people and because they didn't offer me enough money. I think the people want it. I think I would take it. I certainly know ball. My breakdowns are better than I think anyone on the Baylor basketball scene. I don't see any reason why I can't be the head coach here. My talk show was not syndicated.
Do you have any organized basketball experience?
Oh yeah. Whoa. Hey, yeah. Yeah, man. I was a town league all-star in 8th grade.
Okay.
When all the 8th graders were picked to the 8th grade town league all-star team. Look, I had an outside shot back in the day. I haven't shot a basketball in like 2 years, but you don't need to. Okay. Bill Belichick did not play in the NFL.
And you're a coach, you don't need to. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's not a prerequisite, but I did finish second in the Hustle Award one year. I finished second in a free throw shooting contest one year. I beat a 1,000-point scorer in horse. I used to have a little bit of an outside game. Again, listed at 5'9", listed. I could, certainly work through some crevices. I'd like to say my game is a combination of Kyrie Irving's shot-making ability, Larry Bird's trash talk, and the late Bill Walton's passing game. Just incredible. And I say Bill Walton because he was a center, and so his passing game surprised everybody. My passing game, even as a guard, is so shockingly good that it surprises everybody. So, yeah, do I have experience? Look, yeah. Is that good enough for you? They didn't ask me to be in the Media Mafia basketball league because I show everyone up.
They feared you'd be too good.
Yeah, I'm like on the floor. I'm running practices even though they didn't ask for it. I'm dogging the refs, like I'm yelling at the other team. They didn't want that in there, and to which I say, fine, I'll take it to the church basketball league, and then I'll go coach the Baylor Bears. What do you think?
That's when Scott retires, I think they should call you up.
Have I changed your mind? Have I changed your pick?
I think I would need to maybe watch you play 2K or something. I don't know.
Just watch me on the whiteboard, man. I should have had that around me. I got a whiteboard somewhere. Let me just pull up the whiteboard. I'll run the picket fence at your butt, man. That's what I'm going to do. And honestly, I would extend a hand to you as an assistant.
Oh.
Braden as being the assistant on the Cam show. In fact, I think our dynamic on the Cam show is much like the movie Hoosiers. You seen the movie Hoosiers?
I'm a bad sports reporter, but I have not.
Is so pathetic. It's a great movie. But in the movie, Gene Hackman is in every scene. Okay. He can't not be in a scene, and he's an authoritarian who gets the job done. That's me. You're more like Shooter. Got a bunch of knowledge, but usually too drunk to display that knowledge. Braden's never had a drink in his life. Don't believe anything I say. Anyway, let me know, you guys, the listening public, who should be the next Baylor basketball coach from the Waco media. Drop that down in the comments below. Also, tell me who you're most excited for and what you think about the uniforms. This is all an interactive show. All of these things can be very interactive. And let me know how great you think Braden is. And go follow him at Braden Murray _ as he goes after political commentators, which is very great on Twitter. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for making it your first listen today and every day. Braden, thank you for joining the show.
Thank you for having me, Cam. It's great. It was a great experience.
You'll be on more often, trust me, because you'll say yes. We'll be back tomorrow on your favorite show, Locked On Baylor.